I am live. I guess I'm live now. All right. Hey YouTube, how we doing out there? So yeah, my name's Sean. I was trying to think of a name, RDAP Danny's got that. I was thinking Sean, your friendly ex-con. I don't know. Sean the con? No, that doesn't sound right. Maybe Club Fed Sean? I don't know. Anyways, got a couple of viewers already. I like it. Thanks, guys. I hope you got some questions for me today, guys. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. I put home confinement and halfway house and just, open stuff. And I'm still looking for them dumb prison questions. Those are actually the fun ones to answer, the easy ones to answer. I see Carl's out there. Hey, Carl. Hope you're feeling better. I did say some prayers for you. Carl had a well. I don't know if you were in the hospital, Carl, but I hope you're better. And Carl had a little attack going on, and anyways, he's a good man. And I don't, we're getting old, guys. Some of us, some of you viewers, you know what I'm talking about. Our health's not always there. My health, I got a colonoscopy coming up next week, and so I came up positive for prostate cancer couple weeks ago. I did one of those little stool sample things, I finally got a doctor in Medi-Cal, and so I got to go. My father died of prostate cancer while I was in prison, and it runs in the family. So I might have it. I don't know. They said there's three things they look for, when you get the little microscopic blood in there, and they're looking for polyps and stuff, and might be cancer. I don't know. Next week I go, and I'm scared to go that colonoscopy thing, and I hope they knock me out. So I told probation, am I going to pass the drug test after? Because they're going to give you something to knock you out on this colon, that anesthetic stuff. I don't want to be awake for that. So, and I don't know if that shows up on the drug test, but I've already informed probation I'm going to be doing that, and so well, they got to let that one go, right? I don't know if it shows up. Maybe some of you guys know, but man, operations scare me, and I hope it's not prostate cancer. But if it is, I'm going to deal with it, and maybe they'll let me off probation if I have cancer. No, I don't know, man. I'm 57. My dad lived till 80. No, what was he? 86 years old. He died of prostate cancer, but it was the chemo that got him. It was the chemo that got him. Hey, Alan, see you there. Carl, thanks, guys. Got a few viewers. All right. So, any questions, guys? I like the questions. November Killer, what's up, Sean? Hey, what's up, November Killer? So the rest of the year, I'm safe. November, I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to run into you in November. Anyways, so I was going to talk about halfway houses and home confinement, but anything you guys want to talk about. My November Killer says my first live. First live. All right. Well, welcome. Darian. Hey, Darian. Hey, it's slat other account. It's slat other account. Hey, it's slat other account. Not sure what that means. Slat. Am I reading that right? SLATT. What does that mean? November Killer. LOL. I'm a nice girl, just a Scorpio. Oh, so yeah, Scorpio. Okay, I know about you, Scorpio women. I actually had a couple girlfriends in my life that were Scorpios. We actually got along. It's the Scorpio men I don't get along with. For some reason, the Scorpio women I do get along with. Yeah. I'm a Taurus, and so apparently Taurus and Scorpions, they get stung, but only by the men. The women don't sting us for some reason, or me, I don't know. But I watch those Scorpio. I like Scorpio women. What are you gonna do? Darian Rivera, I'm going in June 7th. Oh, Lewisburg camp. Okay, and Richard, hey, you won't fail a drug test. Oh, thanks, Richard. Okay, that's good to know. So you're going in June 7th to Lewisburg camp. Well, it's a good thing that it's a camp, so your life's going to be easy. You don't have to fear for your life in a camp. I wonder how much time did you get, Darian? And do you know if you're getting RDAP and all that stuff? June 7th is, I mean, it's getting there. It's less than a month away. It's right around a month, anyways. Today is the 7th, so yeah, a month. Yeah, that's, the hard part's over, believe it or not, Darian. The pre-trial, I don't know how long you were on it, but all the stress and wondering if you're getting probation or 10 years and all that stuff in between. Me, that was the hardest part. Going to camp was it's all downhill from now. You could see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know. Let's see. Darian says 17 left from 24 months. So I guess you had a little good. You had some time required, maybe county jail or something. November Killer says, "Good luck, Richard." Darian says, "We spoke on my other account." Oh yeah. Okay, I do remember. So you got 17 left from 24 months, and then they're going to give you good time. 24 months, you'll get 4 months good time, brings you down to 13. Yeah, I remember we're talking. You might shave off a month or two, one of them first step programs, but basically a year, give or take. Yeah, that's it's gonna go by faster than you think that year. Just when you're got used to being at the camp, you got to go home. It's gonna be like that, really. Just as soon as you decide, because you need to get there, I'm not gonna make any friends. I'm just gonna do my time and get out of here and all that. And next thing you know, you start to get to know people and you get comfortable. Believe it or not, you can get comfortable in a camp. If you guys can believe that, not that you're happy that you're comfortable, but you just adjust. Human beings can adjust. I mean, you could throw us in the desert, throw us in the Arctic, put us in outer space, wherever environment we humans go to, over time, we adjust. And even in prison, you adjust. Even in that 80X Supermax, in that little 8x8 cell, they're going to be there for the next 30 years. Sooner or later, you adjust. And it's much easier to adjust in a federal prison camp than it is in a federal prison penitentiary. That much is for sure. Darren says, how's the camps there? Sports? And Carl says, Sean, do you know where Lewisburg is? I don't. I could look it up. I've heard of it. I'm not even sure the state. I've heard of that camp because there's not a lot of camps, so I hear about them all. So lots of sports, though. Baseball or softball really is a big sport in most camps, and there's a lot of softball leagues. They actually have tournaments. They have like their own little World Series. They're going to have most baseball fields. I mean, they got all the chalk for all the lines. They got grandstands, not grandstands, but fan stands. They got a scoreboard. They'll have a scoreboard keeper. They'll have the umpires. They'll have a first base coach, a third base coach, or you're going to have the full team, man. A manager for your league, everything. And they're going to give you real bats, real balls, because campers get to have power tools and all kinds of stuff. You're going to be surprised. But there's nothing like a softball game at a federal prison camp. It's a lot of fun. The guys come by and sell sodas and chips to you while you're on a grandstand, while you're sitting there, and you hear us yelling and screaming at the fans, and it's fun to watch the game and it's fun to play the game. And then they have different. There's interracial ones. I mean, there are some Mexican teams. There's a tournament they call Beans and Rice. So that's the Mexicans against the whites. But there was an over 50 softball team. You got mixed race ones. You got some race ones, and they all play together in the tournament. And at the end of the year, they have a big kind of like a World Series, and they go for 7-8 months. Softball. And then there's soccer. That's another tournament. Flag football sometimes. Pickleball's big. Where I was at Florence camp, they had one tennis court, and they had lots of handball. They had a horseshoe pit with real horseshoes, metal ones, not rubber ones. Bocce ball, volleyball, all that kind of stuff. Big giant high school size gym. lots of exercise equipment. They had a weight pile that held about 30 or 40 people, all kinds of free weights, lots of sports to do. Lots of sports. Let's see here. Darian, can you got out whenever? Oh, can you get out whenever you want? And when can't we go out of the dorm? So in most camps, it's 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. at night. You can go in and out all day long. A lot of guys got to go to work. You can go play if it's your day off. Maybe you got a night job, afternoon job. Maybe your job's only 2 hours. Maybe you got classes you're going to go to instead of work. You could sign up for programs like I did the 7 habits on the inside, and it was like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was 4 hours long, and I didn't have to go to work. I got to do that one instead. But there's counts. There's a 10 a.m. count where you got to be back in front of your bed. There's a 4 p.m. count. You got to be back in front of your bed. And they 20, 30 minutes, the guards are going to come by and count everybody in front of their bed. They also count all the people that are at their jobs working. Maybe it takes 20 or 30 minutes, and then when they're done, they're going to go clear, and then you can go back out and play. You can go back out, go to work and all that. But most of the day, you just go in and out, and they let you do what you want. And pretty much everything's back open now with the quarantine if you've got the vaccine. If you are refusing to take that vaccine, you're going to stay in a quarantine range. And that's what I've been hearing. So if you guys are one of them, I didn't want to get I got my shot, but at first I wasn't going to do it, but if you're refusing, you're going to stay inside the whole time. So these quarantine ranges that they're setting up now, they're not really putting people in the shoe anymore. Although some camps are, but most are just taking one of those special range. And when you turn yourself in, you got to stay there for about 2 weeks. You need 2 negative tests that are 10 days apart. And then they'll take you out of that range. And the people that stay there are the ones that, if you come up positive, you're going to live on that quarantine range. If you refuse to take the vaccine shot, you're going to live on that quarantine range. And then new guys that come in are also staying there, and that they keep them all in this one little range. I don't know if it's 10 guys, 5 guys, 14 guys. It's going to change. If you can get your vaccine shot before you go in there, I recommend you do that and bring the paperwork. Because don't just show up and say I already got my shot, because you're a convicted felon now. They're not going to believe your word. Your word. You got to learn that trust all over again. So try to get that shot first. Let's see. Darren says it's in Pennsylvania. Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay. And with the 6 month of home confinement, how would that work with me with only 13 months left? LOLS. With the 6 month of home confinement? What do you mean with the 6 month of home confinement? Did they promise you 6 months of home confinement? So here's how home confinement works anyways. Some guys there's halfway house or there's home confinement. Now, halfway house is really set up for somebody that doesn't have a house to go to. They don't have any money. They don't have a job waiting for them. They don't really have any family or any support. So they don't want to just throw you out on the street because, from what I understand, you're not allowed to be homeless and on probation. Everybody that gets out of federal prison is going to be put on probation, at least for 1 year, usually 3. So you'll be promised home confinement by your case manager. And what happens is they've got to go, probation has to go check out the house that you're going to be home confined to. It's got to have a landline. They're going to look in the cupboards. They're going to look for alcohol. They're going to see who lives there, where you're going to stay, if it's a safe environment for you. And they're going to check everything out, and they're going to make a decision. It's got to have a landline. I've known guys that they can't get a landline, and the wife rents the house, and the landlord won't let the phone company in and drill holes and all that. And they live in an apartment, and there's just no way to get a landline. So they're not eligible. Home confinement, you're going to have an ankle bracelet. So that landline's also used as a monitor. All this has to be pre-approved. And a lot of times they're going to tell you, you've got home confinement, but you got to go check in at the halfway house first. Now I've heard it two different. I heard guys get to the halfway house, they check in, and the halfway house says, "Okay, but you got to stay about a week, and then we're gonna have our probation department go check out your house, and then you can go live there." Normally, you stay at the halfway house until the halfway house releases you to home confinement, and normally you've got to earn that. You get to the halfway house after you're going to have a blackout period for about 7 days. After that, you can apply for a 4-hour pass. They're going to give you the 4-hour pass, whatever. You're going to go shopping. You're just going to go take a walk, to the park, or whatever. You come back in your 4 hours, and you prove that you're good for 4 hours. The next week, you're going to ask for an 8-hour pass. Then they're going to let you go off for 8 hours. Whatever family picks you up, you go out to dinner, whatever you do for 8 hours, you come back. You've earned 8 hours. A week later, you apply for an overnight pass or a 12-hour pass. And so they're going to go let you stay out for 12 hours. And then you come back and you've proved you're good for 12 hours. And there's usually one more weekend pass. I got 48-hour pass. This is where you're going to go home for the weekend, come back, and if you make it back and everything's good, now you're qualified for full-time home confinement, and they will let you go from there. So I've heard two different ways. I heard a guy gets there right away, they go straight to home confinement, or they have to earn the trust, which takes about a month to get, 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, and then the home confinement. So I hope that answers your question. Darian says, yeah, everything should be good on my end. Okay. Carl, Sean, I was glad to get out. Yeah. I was glad to get out of the hospital today. Okay. I was in a room with no windows. I felt like I was in segregation. Yes. So I didn't know if you were in a hospital or just laid in your home bed there, Carl, but I'm glad you're out, man. I'm glad I hope the fact that you're out, they released you. So I guess the danger part's over with. So yeah, and then in the hospitals now, what they're not allowing any visitors in hospitals. I heard it's worse in a hospital now than in than in the SHU. I mean, it's not. I don't know how to compare it like that, but you get no visitors. It's a lonely place in that hospital, and all these, it's no visitors allowed, and people are getting serious surgery operations now. The family can't be there, and you're just isolated in these hospitals. So I could imagine. Darren says, I'm in Boston, Mass. It's only a 6-hour drive to get there to Lewisburg. Okay, 6-hour drive. So, I mean, you're going to self-surrender, I think. And I don't know if you've made your plans how you're going to get there. See, November Killer. How long do people usually stay in the halfway house after prison? If you do the RDAP course, they usually give you 6 months halfway house time. If you got a 2-year sentence, they're going to give you 6 months off your prison time, and then they'll probably give you 4 months halfway house. You got to be in RDAP. You need at least 4 months halfway house to finish the aftercare program. But let's say you're not in RDAP, you don't qualify for that. Normally, it's 1 month for every year you're in there. You can get up to 12 months halfway house time, and that's normally for the guys doing 5 years, 8 years. A guy that's doing a 2-year sentence is probably not going to get a year halfway house. Probably not. You can ask for it. Generally, it's about a month for every year, give or take. RDAP Dan, I know he did a 42-month sentence, and somehow he got 11 months halfway house. And theoretically, you could apply for that, and you can get up to 18 months halfway house, but it depends on your case manager. But some people stay in the halfway house longer than they even have to, right? Because they still don't have a place to go. Just because you're in the halfway house, if you're one of the people like me, I didn't have a place to go to. I didn't have a home. So the halfway house I really needed to be there. I didn't have nowhere to go. And when I got to the halfway house, I still didn't have a place. And I'm in San Francisco Bay Area. You know how expensive it is out here? It's like $3,000 for a studio apartment if you got that. And I had a job washing dishes for $19 an hour, and so after taxes, I mean, I was like $500 a week. So that's $2,000 a month. Like the apartment's $3,000. What you know? So I found one of these sober living houses. This is $950 a month, and you got to share a room. But it's San Francisco. When I'm on probation, I'm getting out of this expensive California place, guys. I'm going to Nebraska, Wyoming, Kansas. I'm going somewhere. It's too expensive here. Some people get extensions at the halfway house because they still don't have a place to go. They haven't saved up enough money. And saving money is not easy. You got to give the halfway house 25% of what you make. No matter what, you got to give them 25%. It used to be even if you stay at the halfway house and you go to home confinement, you still have to pay the 25% to the halfway house. And they changed all that because the halfway house that was a racket. They were getting too much money. They were sending all these people in home confinement so they could fill the beds and get more people to pay them the 25%. And they caught on to it, and they were that wasn't right. Let's see here. November Killer. Darian says, so when I hit my 6-month mark, you think I will be out to camp earlier? I don't understand the question. So with the 6 months of home confinement, how would that work with me with only 13 months left? I'm kind of confused, Darian, on the questions. Let me go back to how much time you. So you got Darian has 17 left from 24 months. You got 17 months left, and then you're telling me down here with the 6 months of home confinement, how would that work with me with only 13 months left? So 17 minus 6 is 11, and now you're saying 13 months left. And this, you're throwing me off of the 6 months of home confinement. Did they promise you 6 months of home confinement? So you're going to go in and do a 7. So you got a sentence to 24 months. You say you got 17 left. So I imagine you have credit time served for being in a federal county detention or something. So you got 17 months left to serve. All right, you're going to have some good time. 4 months. 17 minus 4 is 13. Okay, that's where you get the 13 minus your good time. So I don't see how you might get 2 months halfway house. You might get 2 months home confinement. I don't know where you're getting 6 months home confinement. Who told you you're getting 6 months home confinement on a short sentence like that? It happens, especially with the coronavirus and stuff, and they're sending people home earlier. Or maybe you got 6 months home confinement. What I'm trying to ask, did somebody tell you you're getting 6 months home confinement? Did one of these fancy prison consultants charge you $12,000 and tell you that? Because I hope not. I just want to know why you think you're getting 6 months home confinement on a 2-year sentence. That's not the norm. November Killer. I'm in GA. That's Georgia, right? I have a 3-bed, 2-bath house on 4 acres for $800 a month. I should save up and open a halfway house in Atlanta. Just kidding. You got a room for rent? I'll be right there, man. Damn. 3-bed, 2-bath, 4 acres, $800 a month. Georgia. That's where I gotta go. Damn, that's unheard of out here. You can't rent a garage for $800 a month. Whoo! Man. Darren says, ooh, okay, that's where I'm confused. Okay. Darren says, from my 24-month sentence. Carl says, how many people, it's got an up sign where you were at. How many people, what is that? That's a little symbol of a woman? Where are you? Oh, how many women are in the halfway house? Or where I'm at this clean and sober house. So there's only guys here right now, but they let women stay here. We got a whole room that's empty here. There's 6 people could stay in this house. Right now we only got 3, and there's a house next door that's connected. That only has 2 guys, and it holds 6. So there's space. And the guy who runs all these, he's got 8 houses. He's got tons of openings right now. Tons of openings. It's expensive. Now, I was at one of these in Oakland when I first left the halfway house. So that was $550 a month, 6 people to a bedroom in East Oakland. I was the only white guy in the bedroom. $550 a month though. 2 refrigerators. There was 11 people in the little shack that they call the house, and they had a bunch of little shacks on this little compound, and it was better than the halfway house. But I got out of there and came across the bay to Mountain View, which is a better part of the Bay Area, but it's $950 a month. So I mean, I paid $550 and shared a bedroom with 6 guys. 3 bunk beds, 2 dressers to share, 1 closet, 2 refrigerators for 11 people to share, 1 little 4-burner stove, little tiny place, and there was a bunch of them like that on a compound, and that was no fun. Glad to be out of there. So it's like getting out of prison is I'm trying to rebuild my life, and then everybody gets put on lockdown. I get out of the halfway house, I get to that sober house, and I got this job. They were just about to make me the sous chef and pay me $24 an hour, and then the whole place closed down because of this pandemic. And then I've been on unemployment ever since. And now it's time to get back to work. And I got competition now because I'm a felon and I got this rap sheet record on me, and everybody else is trying to get a job now. So, but you know what? I'm free. I'm free. I'm not in prison. Only probation. Matthew, there was a Matthew Moscrop. He came and he left, took the messages away. J-Man, hey, I remember J-Man. You're the 15-year-old kid, right? Generation Z. What's up? He says, November Killer, 556 guys. Woo, Lord, yeah. Carl says, no, when you were in federal prison, were there women? Transgenders? What are you trying to say? There was some couple transgenders because you got a blue, I don't know if that's a picture of a man or a woman, or it looks like, how many people were at? How many people where you were at? Oh, I just think that's not, I'm tripping. That's not a picture of a woman. That's just a picture of a person. About 400 inmates at the camp. It held 500, but we were never full. We had 2 buildings where people lived, 200 in each room, 8 ranges, about 25 people on each range, 200 people in each building, 8 bathrooms in each building. That's 16 bathrooms total in the camp. Plus there was a couple outside bathrooms. Every bathroom had 4 showers, 2 toilets, 2 urinals. And don't make the mistake I made. You can't take a piss in the toilet. You use the urinal. I learned that the hard way. I made a video about that. A guy got all over me. Because I didn't want to wait. There's 2 guys already using the urinal. So I went in the toilet and pissed. And he went at me when I came out. And I said, I didn't trip nothing, man. He, no. We don't care. You wipe it. None of that. You use the urinal. He says there's 7 other bathrooms in this building, man. You don't want to wait for guys to use the urinal. Just walk across. The other one's 30 feet away, man. He was right. I just didn't know the rules. I did not know the rules. So toilets for one thing and the urinals for one thing. And so that's one of the rules. And me and that guy, his name was Sal. If you're watching, Sal, because we ended up being pretty good buddies at the end there. I got off to a bad start with Sal that day. Yeah, I got off. I didn't know all the rules, man. There's little etiquette you got to learn in prison, man. But Sal, I know you're probably out by now. Sal ended up being a good man. Some of the guys I did time with they watch my videos. I get calls from them. And a few of them have come on the channel here. Some other guys didn't want to. I'm hoping Red, if you're still watching, Red was the cheesecake man. Red had all kinds of good old hustles, man. He did the legal hustles, and he made cheesecakes. And Red, if he said you think about coming on here, so if you're watching Red, man, come on the show, man. People want to hear your stories. You got some good stories. Let's see. Darren says, so how long will I do total, you think, Sean? Because it's a short bid as it is. And yes, I did 7 months and come out on a pretrial. Yeah, so I think you're going to do 24 months, take away 4 months for your good time. You got 17 left to do. Take away 4 months for your good time. That's 13 months. Um, they're going to give you 13. Most guys that get a year and a day get 1 month halfway house. You're 13 months. You might get 2 months halfway house or home confinement. And I told you, even though they say home confinement, you usually got to check in at the halfway house. If you get lucky, you go to the halfway house and you'll stay a couple days and they'll send you to home confinement, or they're going to make you earn your home confinement. Like I said, first you get a 4-hour pass, 8-hour pass, 12-hour pass, and then home confinement. So let's say you're going to get the best is probably 2 months home confinement. Where you heard that 6 month that's not just the norm, unless because of the coronavirus, they're giving lots longer extended stays at home confinement. I actually haven't heard of that happening yet. I haven't really heard about guys getting out yet. I'm more talking to guys going in. But I'm learning. So my guess is you're going to do 11 months at the camp, and then go to halfway house and then home confinement. I'm thinking 11 months. Now there's that First Step Act. They get 10 for every 30 days you do of First Step Act programs. You get time earned credits. For every 30 days, you're supposed to get 10 days that you can turn in for halfway house time. And sometimes it's 15 days, depending on the length of your sentence, I think. But so if you take some classes for 30 days worth of classes, you get 10 free days halfway house. So if you were to take, you take a year's worth of classes, do the math. Well, see, the problem is you're not there long enough. They evaluate you every 6 months. So every 6 months, it's called a team, TEAM, and I forget what the acronym stands for, but that's where your unit director, your case manager, your counselor, and then sometimes the associate warden, they all sit you down in a room, and they're going to evaluate what you've done for the last 6 months. Have you had any shots? A shot is when they write you up for something. Have you been late for work? Have you missed it? Have you done anything wrong? And then have you done anything good? What classes have you taken? What programs have you taken? What have you completed? Those programs that you actually complete, not just take the class, but did you finish the class? Because a lot of classes are 3 months long, and you got a certificate maybe for a history class that you took, and you got a certificate for a Spanish class that you took, and each of those were 3 months long. So you're going to get 3 months, you'll get 1 month halfway house. So let's say you took a Spanish class and a history class, and they were 3 months long each. You get 2 months worth of halfway house, but you got to wait till your 6 month, review for them to do that. Now that they say, okay, you got 2 months of halfway house time, we're going to put in the request and the paperwork for your halfway house time, but you leave here in 4 months. By the time all that paperwork gets processed, because it's all got to be sent out to Grand Prairie, it's got to come back, it's got to be approved, and 2 or 3 hands it's going to go through before it's all approved. And by that time, you're home. So that First Step Act, it's great for a guy doing 5 years or 8 years. He can accumulate all that. You're just not there long enough. But still, take the classes and learn something. And do something with your mind. And you know what I mean? Better yourself while you're there. If it's an arts and crafts class, take it. Take anything they offer. I took a ton of classes, and it helped me. And it's self-improvement is self-improvement. You know what I mean? They had a class, film review, and we watched a movie, and then we wrote about it. And we just wanted to take it to watch the movie. But, we wrote about it, and it's some kind of self-improvement. That's just one little class. But I took real estate classes, how to flip houses. I have no intention of flipping houses, but I was curious how they do it. It's all taught by, a guy there for real estate fraud. But, let's see what else I got here. Lots of questions going on here. I like it. Darian says, can you search where I'm going? I could, but I can't. So I'm just on the regular live stream on YouTube. So I don't have anything hooked up to show you the pictures and all that. I don't know how to. I got a Zoom program for that. But the thing I tried to use the Zoom on here once, and it has a 20-second delay. When I read a question, I gotta wait 20 seconds for. So I'm just doing the regular live. So, but I can search it and get back to you on it. I know we talked. If you go to BOP.gov, that's Bureau of Prisons.gov website, and under their list of locations, because that's what I'm going to do. That's how I would research it. I'd go in there and click Lewisburg and read everything that they say about it. There's a bunch of different reports and everything that list. November Killer. I wish I could show pics. I just looked out my window and there's a big ass snake in my yard. Okay, yeah, yeah. Wouldn't want to. Don't take a. Yeah, well, you could send a picture. How can you do that? I got an email. I can't show it on here right now, but email it to me, and then I'll do a post or something. J-Man says, "Yo, Sean, a kid brought a knife to school and only got suspension and community service. He was like 13. So what do you think would happen if I did that again? Oh, if he did that again, he only got suspension. They didn't call the cops or nothing and call the newscast up and all that. What kind of school is this, man? I know if the kids bring a gun to school, you know what happens then, right, man? The news media is all over it. How long did they suspend him for? And community service, how long was that? But they didn't throw him in juvie. Well, he brought a knife to school. So when you say he brought a knife to school, I mean, was a little pocket knife in his pocket? Was it in his backpack? Was it a big giant Bowie knife? You know what I mean? Give me the details. Because, when you hear a news story, they never tell you the details. Maybe he just had a little tiny pocket knife, 2 inches long, and, and it's a harmless little knife, but maybe it was a big giant hunting knife. And did he brandish it and show it to everybody, or did he keep it hidden? And you know what I mean? So tell me a little more. I got to know the details. This happened last year. November Killer says, home confinement like house arrest. Yeah, it's like house arrest. You got to wear an ankle bracelet. Like I said, they're going to put a landline in your house, and sometimes they have a monitor hooked up to it, and they'll have like a webcam hooked up to the monitor. And every 2 hours, you got to check in, and they're going to call you. And if you don't answer, because they call you about every 2-3 hours. If you don't answer that phone, I think you got 5 or 10 minutes to call back. And if they don't hear from you, the marshals come and they just arrest you. You better have a damn good excuse why you didn't answer that phone. You better be laying there having a heart attack. I know a lot of times the monitor, there's a webcam hooked up, so when they call you, you got to stand in front of that monitor, or they're going to have you they're going to call you on the landline, but they're also going to have you on your cell phone. There's an app on a cell phone that probation uses, and you have to take your phone and you have to fan it to the probation so they see that you're in your house. Even though the monitor's on you, they don't trust you all the way. And they'll call you at 3 in the morning. They're going to call you 5 in the morning. They're going to call you 1 in the morning, all night long. And then you got to have permission to go anywhere. Permission to go to the store. They want you to go to work, so they'll usually give you permission to go to work and come right back. But they're really, really strict. Even on who lives there, they're strict. And you get caught with, one bottle of beer. If there's an empty beer, if they come in the house and do surprise visits all the time. And if there's a bottle of Budweiser sitting on your coffee table and it's empty and it's been there, since last night, and your dad drank it, okay, you got to prove it was your dad, and they're going to think it was you. Usually no alcohol is allowed in the house, so whatever house you're living at can't have alcohol in their house. They're not allowed to drink because you're living in that house on probation. They're really, really strict, really strict. So let's see what else here. Darren says, I assumed it was 6. Oh, Darren, you assumed you got 6 months, not on a 2-year sentence, man. I know you only got 17 left, 17 months out of it go, but people think sometimes that, but a 2-year sentence. I knew guys who were doing 5 years and would only get 2 months halfway house. But we had a bad case manager to it. So they have my camp had 3 case managers for 400 guys. There was one lady who would bend over backwards for you, and she might have got you the 6 months. She was really nice. And then there was 2 other ones that they were giving. If you're lucky, you got a month or 2 halfway house if you weren't doing RDAP. That one lady, man, everybody wanted her. She was really nice, and she gave her guys lots of time. So it could depend on the case manager. She was willing to do the work. Let's see here. Oh, I know there's much more here. Carl says, I'm at 1% on iPad. Glad to see you and listen. Okay. All right, Carl. Go charge up. Darren says, let me know what you think about it. I think I just did. I read a little. Oh, about Lewisburg. Yeah, I will. I'll let you know. J-Man says, I think it was a pocket knife. I would say no more than 3 inches. I think someone found out. He got like 2 weeks suspension, and I want to say like a few weeks community service. So yeah, 3-inch pocket knife. I mean, unless he was running around chasing girls with it or something. It's honest mistake. Kids like pocket knives. They do. You can't bring it to school though. So I think that if he did it again, it'd probably double. Maybe they suspend him for a few more months or something. That's what I think. November Killer. I've been on probation, but nothing like that. Okay, yeah, some probation officers are really nice and easy. I had the first. I've been on my 4th one now. The second one was really nice. It was a lady, and she came to see me once, and I wasn't even home the first time she came to see me. And I called back, and she didn't even call her 2 or 3 times every day, and she wasn't answering my calls. And then a week later, oh yeah, I figured you're at work, so we're just checking up, see if you're there. And then I never ever saw her again. Talked to her on the phone once or twice. Really nice. The one I got now has told me he's going to be here, coming to visit me 2, 3, 4 times a month. So he came last week, and I did a little video. He surprised me. I haven't seen a probation officer around in 4 or 5 months because of the pandemic. This guy's a little more hardcore. I got to earn his trust all over again. So it's the 4th one, and every time you get a new one, you got to earn their trust. They got a file on you, but I guess they need to see for themselves. And it's all about the drug testing. I got this white collar crime, right? Wire fraud and stuff. So if I open up a credit card and I don't ask permission to do that, that's a violation. I just watched a video on this guy, the prison professor's video. What's his name? Anyways, he had a guy on there that opened up 2 credit cards and bought a car and didn't ask permission. He was on 3 years probation. He had 1 year left to go. And he was doing good, but that last month he decided to buy a car for his kid and open up 2 credit cards. And they gave him 90 days in prison back at the camp and extended his probation for 18 more months. I watched that video. It scared me. Like if I got money stashed in my house, let's just say I've been saving money, and let's say I had $5,000 hidden in my sock or something, right? And they come here and they want to search my room, and they find this sock with the $5,000 in it, and I haven't never told them that I've been saving money. That's a violation, because I have restitution to pay. That's what pisses the government off. You owe them $1 million, and you're out here opening up credit cards, and you got a sock with $5,000, and you run. They want to see everything you spend money on too. What are you doing buying all these nice clothes you're wearing, and I have to pay $100 a month, but my restitution is $1.7 million. Me and 7 other people got to pay, but which we never had the money in our hands. That's here and now. That's the money we caused the government damage for. So I own that kind of money, and I can't be buying fancy clothes. Even when I told the probation officer that the rent here is $950 a month, he goes, "What? That much?" I think they don't even want me. I don't know if he was saying because they'd rather have that money. He told me if you ever do save up $5,000, you need to start paying more than $100 a month. You that's the minimum you're supposed to pay. If you can save up $5,000, then you need to put 200 or 300 in payments to these guys. But my minimum, all you want is 100. It doesn't matter. So I mean, white collar guy, we got to watch every little penny that comes and goes. And you get a credit card offer in the mail, don't accept it unless you get permission. If I go across the bay, out of bounds is like 50 miles away. I got a cousin that lives in Napa and one that lives in Vallejo, and it's 8 miles over the border of my jurisdiction. And I almost went to go see him one time, and I had to stop and call him and say, I can't come. I just realized you're 8 miles over the Northern California jurisdiction. Now, I could ask permission, and he probably would have said, yeah, I'd go see your cousin. But it was like a weekend, so I turned around. I didn't cross that border. You never know. Never know. Probation's not easy. Boy, I got more questions here. I've been talking, and I like this. Okay. Tito Hernandez. Hey, Tito. How you doing, Tito? Thanks for joining. Hello, friends, he says. Darian Rivera. There's a 262 at the camp right now. Do you think that's one or two camps? I think that's one camp. Two camps? There's usually not two camps. Sometimes there's two penitentiaries, but there's usually not two camps. I'll take that back because Lompoc has two camps. So I'm wrong. I guess there can be two camps. Lompoc has Camp 1 and Camp 2. That's right. They do. Darren says, are there usually one camp or two? Oh, yeah, I just answered that one. November Killer says, will credit card companies give you a card now? I have been rebuilding my credit because I got this CHIME card that has a credit builder thing on it. So every time I buy something, it rebuilds my credit. I started off at 511 was my credit score when I got out of prison. I owe everybody. The car was repossessed. I got evicted. I got an eviction from a landlord because when they raided my house, all this prison time came. The landlord evicted me, and so it was 511. Now it is 602. So I got a Capital One credit card offer for $300. You had to pay $75 minimum. You had to pay a $75 annual fee, and then they would give you the $300 card. But I asked my probation officer. This was like 6 months ago, and he said, "Yeah, you could have the card." And then that's all I want, though. And it's just rebuilding. Like I don't even use the thing. You know what I mean? I paid a phone bill with it, and then immediately paid the $50 phone bill, and now I haven't touched the card. I want to rebuild my credit, but rebuild my credit when I can't really buy anything because probation doesn't want me to buy anything because I owe money. So why bother rebuilding your credit? But so I'm trying to rebuild my credit. John Bedea. Hey, hi, Sean. You look ready for the weekend, yeah? Okay. Thank you, John. John, me and John have talked. A lot of you guys I talked to on the phone, man. I appreciate the phone call, guys. I know what you're going through. Jeff Tiz. Hey, Jeff says, hello. I'm the guy that got 16 months FCI Morgantown for cannabis in state of Virginia. Now it's legal. And ain't that a bitch? That is a bitch. But it's not federally legal. So they still made a case. Eventually, the feds are going to make it legal. Look, it's legal in Canada, all federally, all around Canada. And Mexico just passed a law where it's federally legal in Mexico. I think there's 28 states that it's at least medically legal in the United States, and what is there? 16 states where it's recreational legal. They're gonna cave. Any year now. It's gonna be federally legal in this country. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen I'm thinking within 5 years. It's gonna happen. Maybe Biden and Harris will make it legal. Make a lot of people happy. So it's going to be federally legal soon. And then, watch. That's going to be when it's federally legal, they're going to be letting some people out of prison. Oh, man. Let's see. Fahad says, hello, Fahad. I think I talked to you too, or at least emailed you. A lot of guys, email me and calling me, and I really appreciate it, guys. And keep calling me, keep me updated. I'm trying to help you guys get through this because I went through it. I know what it's like to be on pretrial. I know what it's like to go to federal prison. and you guys are all going to get through this, man. Everybody's stressing on pretrial. I get all these guys calling me, and I know, man, I wish I could wave a wand and tell you how much time you're going to get and all that, and it's tough, man. It's tough. Pretrial is like a motherfucker. Nobody believes you're going to prison. All your family says, you're not going to go to prison. It's been 2 years now. Oh, but I got a court date coming up. Yeah, that's because they're probably going to give you probation. They're not going to let you run around the street, be free with 2-3 years. Pretrial, they don't even know what pretrial means. You're a good guy. You're working everything. You're going to get probation. No, I'm looking at 77 months. Nobody believes you. But the feds, you guys know. 4 years of pretrial for me, and it was a year before that until I got indicted. That was 5 years, and then 4 years and 4 months sentence. So I did 3 and a halfway off, 3 more months probation. I'm looking at like an 11-year sentence for 52 months, and it's a long journey, guys. It's a long journey, guys. But once you get sentenced, man, you get to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You go, okay, now I could start my life. Because it's on hold right now. When you're on pretrial, your life is on hold. I know. Let's see. November Killer, they'd rather you live in the gutter and pay them all your money. They would. Feds don't care about you. They don't care if you're. John is. I don't want to give your age. John is looking at some time. Is John? Are you the one, or is that John from? There's another John from Romania. That is you, I think. 70 years old, going to prison. I might be a little wrong on the age there. They don't care. I see guys 80 years old still got to serve 5 years in prison and applying for compassionate release. And man, we had this old guy that was like 81, 82 years old. He was one of my neighbors in prison. We call them neighbors because our little community. And he already got approved for compassionate release like for 2 years, and they still weren't letting him go. The warden said, "Oh, I'm making calls for you. All the paperwork signed." 2 years went by, and they still hadn't released him. And then I finally got out, and I'm sure he eventually got out. But after he got the compassionate release all approved, which took a year to get that, and they still didn't release him. Oh man. Let's see. Okay, where I lost my place. Fahad says, "Would you rather do medium in a cell or low in a camp?" Would I rather do medium in a cell or low in a camp? I'd rather do the camp. Medium in a cell. No, the medium. You're talking about a medium security prison. I wouldn't want to go to one. They're not as bad as penitentiaries. I could probably survive a medium. I would not survive a penitentiary, man. You got to join a gang, politics, all that, man. Those guys are some dangerous. So the guards fear for their life who work at a penitentiary. I would be fearing for my life every day in a penitentiary. I'm not made of that, man. I'm not made of that. Throw me in the shoe. And mediums can be bad too. I probably could have survived a medium, but I'll take the camp any day. Let's see here. November Killer. I just got back from Vegas, and it felt so weird just walking around smoking everywhere. I felt like that when I got out of prison. I smoked. We smoked a little bit in prison, but yeah, it was the same feeling. Fahad says financial crimes would be a low. Yeah, when you say low security, there's camp as a low security and a low facility as a low security. You kind of got 4 levels in the feds. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got camp, low, medium, high. And you also got the 80X Supermax. You say that's number 5. So 1 and 2 is low, 3 and 4 is kind of high. Financial crimes would be a low. Yeah, definitely. But, if they sentence you to 20 years, like that Bernie Madoff guy, and I just found out he died or something. He got 20 or something years. He had to do, you can't do a low. So it's if you have a 10-year sentence or less, you go to a camp. 15-year sentence or less, you go to a low. Maybe it's 10 to 20 for a low, but anything past 20, you got to do it at least a medium. So some of these guys, financial crimes, they get 15, 20 years. They can't go to the lows because they have too much time. So if they have escape charges, they have any violence back. You don't always get to go just because it's financial. You don't go to a camp. And if you're a child molester, you ain't going to a camp, buddy. You got any kind of crimes like that, because some guys get financial crime and child molester all in one, and they ain't never coming to a camp. That's the best thing about a camp. They don't let child molesters there. That's yes. People ask me that question. I think that's the best. That's the best part of being out of camp. November Killer says, oops. Find all these questions. John says, yeah, that's me. Yeah, John, that's you. Yeah, John, I'm from Romania, 70 years old, looking at prison time, man. I feel for you, man. Feds don't care. J-Man says, Fed just want the money. I swear it's all people want. Yeah. If they don't want money, they want to say their claim was right because the feds are never wrong. Feds are never wrong. Feds are never wrong. John says, Sean, did you ask the judge for RDAP or you got approved at the camp? I got approved at the camp. I asked the judge for RDAP. Judge recommended it, but I also knew to put it in my PSR because RDAP Dan and Walt Pavlo, who used to kind of do prison consulting, but he's moved on. He took his videos down, and he did a few years for money laundering, things like that, financial crime. And so he did his time and finished probation. Now he teaches criminology courses at a Southern Boston University. And he was kind of doing some of the prison consulting. He had videos. Him and RDAP, Dan, helped me, took phone calls from me. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have known to put that in my PSR. I wouldn't have known about RDAP. My court-appointed attorney kind of knew about RDAP, but never told me that it's got to be put in the PSR part. He says, we'll get the judge to recommend that. Yeah. And that's all they said. And you know what? When the judge recommends it and you get to the prison camp or the prison low or wherever you're going that has RDAP, there's an RDAP coordinator, and that's a doctor, psychologist who runs the RDAP program. And our doctor was a woman, Dr. Coulter Rodriguez, and she always told us, you guys come in my office, I get guys coming in my office, and the judge recommended RDAP, so they're here to sign up, and I just laugh at them. Oh, that's great. Where's it on your PSR? Prove to me you have a problem with drugs and alcohol. Because I don't care what the judge recommended. This is my program. Your BOP property now. See, when the judge recommends it, that's Department of Justice. Okay, now right now, Department of Justice owns you while you're on pretrial, but when you get to prison, you're sold. Now you're a slave for the prison. Bureau of Prisons owns you, and they have their own set of rules, but they don't really care what the judge thought. I mean, it's not that they don't care, but you're in their house now. So, judge could recommend all day long that you get a bottom bunk. You get to the prison, we don't care what the judge recommended. This is our prison. We run it our way. So you got to make sure it's in your PSR, or you got an attachment from a therapist or a psychologist or a doctor saying you got a drug and alcohol problem, or you got a whole bunch of documentation that you've been going to AA meetings or NA meetings, and you get them all signed, and you attach that to your file before you get to the prison. And you can say, look, it's not in my PSR, but here I went to AA and NA meetings for 2 years. If I didn't have a drug problem, why did I go? And then the doctor would say, the doctor at the RDAP, that should be enough to let you in the RDAP. So that's a couple of ways to get an RDAP. And or you could pay some of these prison consultants $10,000 and they'll guarantee you get an RDAP. Good luck with that. Call me after you spent 10 grand on Justin Paperny, who guaranteed you're going to get an RDAP. He's not really guaranteed that. I mean, he's learned his lesson, but there's guys out there who just take your money. Um, and I have links in my descriptions, guys, underneath the video how to get an RDAP. But just rewind what I just said. Those are ways. Call me, text me, send me a notification. If you really have a problem with alcohol and drugs, I'll tell you how to get it documented for free, no charge. You just got to subscribe and like, hit that button. I will help you for no charge at all. You just tell the world that spread the good karma that Sean is helping people now with his life. Now that he's out of prison, he's doing good things for people like he promised he would to the judge. And that's all I ask, guys. That's all I ask. Subscribe, tell your friends about this channel. Yeah, you want some help getting on now, I will help you absolutely free. Okay. But I mean, there's only so much I can do. I just tell you all the rules and the ways and the things that the BOP will accept to get an RDAP. So you can get up to a year off your sentence and 6 months halfway house time if you guys don't know. Let's see where I lost my place here. Financial crime. John, yeah, it's me. J-Man, Fed just want the money. Yeah, read that one. If they don't want the money, they want to say they're Clinton. Yeah, I read that one. John says, Sean, did you ask the judge? Oh, yeah, I just read that one. Darian, so if I get my shot, will I still have to do 2 weeks quarantine? Yeah, unfortunately, you still have to do the quarantine. I asked, so I got a letter I'll read from Devin's camp in Massachusetts, and I read it on another video, but this is from Jonathan Wynn. He did a year and a day in a camp, and they're shut down right now because of the quarantine. But yeah, Jonathan was calling me, but right now there's no emails or phones. And I've asked him this question a couple times. And at his camp, at least at his camp, doesn't matter if you come in with the vaccine or not, you still got to do the 2 weeks quarantine. So this is what he read. And just so you guys know, I showed this in another. So here's an envelope. Here's the letter that came from the prison. I scratched out my address. I want you to see that there is no big, it doesn't say inmate mail. It doesn't say federal prison. Nothing. No, nothing. People wonder when your mail comes from a prison. Because I had a couple my 80-year-old aunt, I was writing her letters, and she was worried. I don't want the mailman to know to see that it's from a prison. So nobody knows. It's just a regular looking envelope. Jails and state prisons have that big stamp on there, inmate mail, but not the feds. So here's what Jonathan says. FMC Devin's camp is on complete quarantine because an inmate has caught the virus from working outside the camp. I have no idea when they will lift the quarantine, maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. And I got this on the 4th of this month. But we are stuck in our bunks except for food service, and we have no access to phone or email. The inmate who caught the virus received 1 shot of the Medina's vaccine and still got sick. But they did a rapid test for everyone else, and we all tested negative. So he says an inmate caught the virus from working outside. So what that means is a lot of people in camps have jobs outside, and then they come back home at night to go to the camp. There's drivers. A lot of jobs you have. We had a town driver. We had 3 or 4 of them. And at my facility, there was a camp, a medium, penitentiary, and the 88X Supermax. And people are being released every day to go home, even from the 88X Supermax. They're not all in there for the rest of their life. A lot of guys are just doing 20-year sentences and violent violations, but they still get out. So they have a camper who drives a van, and they give us the keys, and they take people to the bus station or the airport, and they pick them up. People that are being transferred from one. Sometimes if you're going to transfer from one camp to another camp, they'll give you a Greyhound bus ticket. They'll have their inmate driver take you to the bus station. Then when you get to the bus station near the camp you're going to go to, that town driver from that camp will come and pick you up. All right. And then we had guys taking trucks to the dumps all day, recycling center drivers. We had a staff driver who actually went to staff's houses. You tell me, they parked their cars, and he parked the cars in the carpool area, like at Colorado Springs, and he'd go pick up a bunch of staff and bring them to work. And then and then you got guys that go work in the city. They work for Parks and Recs. They did a lot of landscaping around City Hall at Florence, Colorado. They did in-town work, little work projects, building bridges, things like that. So, and you got just people going in and out to medical. They going to get surgeries. So a lot of campers go in and out, and that's one of them caught the virus. They said he had he received one shot of the Moderna vaccine, but I don't know how long he could have got the shot and then the next day caught the virus. I think it takes a couple weeks to kick in until you're safe. So he didn't give me the details on that. But the whole place, I mean, they took away their email. That's rough, man. And I guess they can get mail. So I wrote him a letter. I'm going to put it in the mailbox tonight. So that's what's going on with that. So it's still not over, and you do have to quarantine, even if you have the shot. But get your shot because they could keep in quarantine until the vaccine comes in. So every prison is going to keep you in that quarantine range until you get the vaccine shot. Now, let's say you check. Let's say you got to turn yourself in June 1st, and you don't have your vaccine. You haven't been vaccinated. Okay, you're going to go do your 2 weeks quarantine, and they're going to say, well, we can't let you out of quarantine now until you get the shot, and we used up all the doses we have. We don't have any new doses coming in till September. Sorry, you're going to be here till September in the quarantine area. So that's why you want to get your vaccine shot now, because you don't want to be stuck there. Because they're vaccinating the inmates, but as soon as they get the doses, they hand them out. And it could be a month or two till they get another batch. They don't just come every Monday. It's hard. A lot of people now still can't get the shot. It's just the waiting list. I got mine. It was hell trying to get. I had to drive 50 miles away to get mine at the local Coliseum. Where they were giving 5,000 away every day. And all right, let's get back to my questions. I love these questions, guys, too. Thank you. When I get there, Grasshopper. Hey, Grasshopper, did you already know how to cook ramen noodles, or did you learn in the camp? Well, I knew how to cook ramen noodles, but I never cooked them in a microwave. I used to put a little pot with water and cook it that way. You learn how to cook them in a microwave there. Some places just use hot water and you put them in your cup and you cover it and you let it steam, sit aside for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But yeah. Fahad says, lots of LOL. Justin is a joke. Fahad says, how do I get a year off? I don't have a drug or alcohol problem. There are some other ways to get a year off without going to RDAP. It's going to cost you $8,000. The numbers, no, I'm just kidding. I won't charge you. There's a couple ways. So there's a thing called a road crew, and they're always looking for inmates to do this. This is the hardest way. And there's two other ones besides this. So the road crew are guys inmates that it's a traveling prison. So maybe it's 40 inmates, and they have 2 road crews, I think, for the whole country. And if you ask your case manager or your counselor at prison, I want to sign up for the road crew, and it's a traveling prison, and they'll give you a year off for this, right? But what you're gonna do is you're gonna be paving roads for all the prisons, because prison complexes are huge. And, I mean, they have sidewalks and they have streets and lights and they have their own traffic signals sometimes, and all those roads need to be paved. So instead of hiring Caltrans or some, they have inmates do this, and it's campers. So it's a traveling road crew. They do infrastructure work for prison camps, and they don't. Not only that, they do it for administration off anything that the Bureau of Prison owns. They don't just own camps and prison and supermaxes. They actually have buildings, administration buildings, reentry buildings, all kinds of things that don't even have inmates inside. But all that infrastructure needs fixing. So they have a crew. I think it's like 40 guys. And guards will be there with you watching that. But I hear they treat you really good. So you're gonna work all day, probably an 8-hour shift, paving roads, sidewalks, putting fences. They're gonna have you build the fences. That's another thing. They put in all the fencing on prisons, the barbed wire, all that. That's inmates do that work. And in return, you get a year off. I think you got to do it for 2 years, and you get 1 year off. And you travel. Now, half the time they're going to put you up in a Motel 6, and it's real nice. And the guards will give you a pass to go to Jack in the Box or McDonald's and all that, and have a curfew, and they treat you really good. Sometimes you actually got to stay at a nearby prison because there is the nearest motel if it's 20 miles away. Because I've talked to guys who've done this. If there's no motels in the area, they're gonna make you stay in like the shoe of the prison. They don't normally do that, but it happens sometimes wherever you're working at. Normally they put you up in a Motel 6. And normally they let you kind of go like the McDonald's and Jack in the Box, but you gotta stay on the motel compound, and they treat you pretty good because when you're a camper, you're considered out of custody. Even though you're in a prison, you're considered out of custody. But it's hard work, and I don't know how you get your mail on the road. Your phones, I guess you use from the Motel 6. I don't know how the mail's done. Maybe it's sent by bulk, and the guards go pick it up at the nearby prison, and they give you your mail. So I don't know how you get your mail, but and the phones, I'm not sure if they let you use the Motel 6 phone, or maybe they let you have a cell phone. But that's hard work, and you got to do it for 2 years to get 1 year off. Another way to get a year off is you work at these MMCs. That's your medical facilities. They have like these. It's a prison and a hospital all in one, and they need medical orderlies. And that's another deal. You got to be there at least 2 years, and you get 1 year off. And I think the year off is only halfway house time off, not off, but it's still, nevertheless, it's a home confinement or halfway house. You get a year off, and you're going to be an orderly, so you're going to be changing bedpans, right? And you're going to be scrubbing out the bedpans. You're going to be washing sheets, and these are filthy, disgusting sheets because these are people laid up, in one of these medical facilities. You're going to do all that dirty, disgusting, orderly medical stuff for 2 years, and you get a year off. And there's another place called SeaTac in Washington. And Oklahoma City, I think, has it too, but I know SeaTac does. And they took about 20 guys from my camp that volunteered to go work at SeaTac for at least 2 years, and they would get a year off. And they were going to be like trustees. And they were going to go, because SeaTac is like it's a hub where it's a transport center. Inmates come and they get distributed to where they're going to go. It's a holding tank. It's not really a prison. It's more of a holding thing. So none of the inmates in there have been classified. So they need people to work food service, clean the halls, do the laundry, and you're going to do kind of general work that you probably do at a camp anyways, but you go do it at SeaTac. But you're not going to get the big yard like you do at the camp, and there's no wage. Like what I understand, they have their own little TV room and their own kind of area, and I think it's mainly indoors. There's not much outside there, but the deal is they go work for 2 years and they get a year off. So that's 3 ways to get a year off. One more is the dog service program, but that's 5 years or more. You got to have a 5-year sentence or more. And now with the First Step Act, if you do the dog service program for 5 years, you get a year off too. And there's only like 20 or 30 inmates that do it at every camp, and you're trained service dogs. And after you've done that for 5 years, then you get a year halfway house time. That's new. That's something brand new. I just heard from the RDAP coordinator because I called her on the phone. She told me, and I actually called the prison where I've done time, and I've talked to the RDAP counselors, and I check in with them. They like to hear how I'm doing. So that's 4 ways to get a year off besides RDAP. And I don't know who's watching this video. I got to remember those ways. I'll do another little special video on everything I just said because that gave me an idea. All right. Let's see. Finish up these questions. And it's 5:14. I've been talking for over an hour. And I was always a quiet man. I talk for an hour. I can't believe I have things to talk about for an hour. Wow. Okay. How did I get a year off? I don't have a drug. Oh, I just answered that. Okay. Darren says, so they can't walk around dorm where he is? No. Jamin says, what job did you have? I'm pretty sure you said you handle food. Yeah, I had a few different jobs, but one of them was food service at the ADX Supermax. I also did a culinary class there for like a year. When I finished that, I worked at the ADX Supermax doing. I started off washing dishes there, and you work your way up to washing trays, and then to working on a line where you put the food in the tray on an assembly line for the inmates there, and then you work your way up to kind of a cook. So I did the food service deal. Let's see. Shelly, hi Shelly. Good evening from Kansas. Kansas. I'm just saying how I want to move to one of them states that are cheap to live at, where I can rent a house for $500, $800 a month. Can you, the next step of you have, Shelly says, can you, the next step of you have 16 months? I guess you didn't, I don't know what you're trying to say there, but your question says, can you, the next step of you have 16 months? So Shelby, yeah, can you ask again? Because that didn't come out right. Kuva Gruva, what was your favorite commissary snack item? Well, that's a honey bun. I still haven't opened it up. I don't know. Actually, these almond bars, they had these little almond bars because they were cheap. They were like 45 cents, but they were honey and oats almond bars. I liked those. Fahad says, do you have to work in camp? I just did a video. Yes, you have to work. Hoover Groove said, ice, honey bun, nice. Yeah, you have to work in camp. There's ways to get out of work. Go on my channel, hit the videos, and I just did that video like 2 days ago. All about working in camp. You have to or not. There's some ways to get out of work. Usually a medical excuse or you got to be retired. But yeah, watch that video, and that'll answer your questions. Let's see, guys. It's 5. I've been talking for over an hour. And I actually have to do an AA meeting at 6 o'clock. And I was going to get some dinner in between. So I'm probably going to end this unless there's some more questions. I'll wait for Shelby. Says, can you do the next step class if you have only a 16-month sentence? Yeah. Oh, now I get it. Yes, you can. And you say the next step class. So there's not actually there's not a next step class. There's a first step act that is entitles you to credits, earned time credits for taking classes. Yeah, and it's usually for every 30 days you do of classwork, you get 10 days off for halfway house time or home confinement time. And I was just saying, but you get reviewed every 6 months. So if you're only there for 16 months, I don't know if you have enough time to get much done. If you took classes for 3 months, that would give you 1 month off halfway house time. And that's, and then you got to wait to your 6-month review for them to give you the credits. Then you got to wait for them to turn in all the paperwork and the process the time for your credits. And then the halfway house has to readjust because they've already made arrangements for you to go to halfway house. Now you say, well, we gave him more credits. Do you have a spot now this time earlier? And everything's got to be worked through. And it takes, their feds are very slow if you guys don't know. And when you get to prison, they're very slow. You will find out how fast paperwork and things gets done. 16 months, you might get your, whatever you do the first 6 months, you could probably get that time off. But anything after that, it'll be a year. It's just too long for them to process it. So if you can get, 4 classes in 6 months, which you can, but whatever you're going to get done in the 6, and there's no guarantee that they'll have it all finished and processed for your time to go home earlier before your out date. 16 months is just a short sentence to them. So it may not be worth it, but it's worth trying because self-improvement. the classes you take will help better yourself. And hopefully you have a good case manager that can give you the credits in time and adjust your out date that much earlier, if that makes sense. John Bada says, Sean, what should I get? MP3 player or radio? I like this question. So if you most of the TV rooms at a camp, the volume comes out of the TV. But in the we have these other big giant TV rooms out in a different building, like the sports room and the newsroom and all that. You got to have a radio to hear the TV. When you get to these TV rooms, the ones inside the building, even though you can hear the volume, you really can't hear it. You almost want to have the headphones. You need an FM radio for that. Now, the MP3 player has an FM radio built in. And the MP3 player, it's going to cost you about $2 a song to load a song onto that MP3 player. And it has to be charged like a cell phone. And there's charging stations all over the place. Every TV room has that. The MP3 players, God, they're $100, $110 for an MP3 player, but you get the FM radio built in. Opposed to the radio, I wanted my AM station because I'm a talk show junkie. I listen to Art Bell at night and all kinds of talk shows, guys. Rush Limbaugh, Michael Savage. I listen to all kinds of talk shows. And FM has music, and I like my music on FM. And it's cheaper. I can get a radio you can buy a used radio for about $10. You can't buy a used MP3 player because every 2 weeks you have to plug your MP3 player into the terminals where you check your email, and you have to reload it with a certain password that you get. This stops theft. Every 2 weeks you have to renew it, like reset the password. Otherwise, the thing shuts off. That way, people can't sell them. But you can buy a used radio for $10 or $20. You can buy a new radio for anywhere to $40 to $80. You got to buy the batteries. You got about 100 hours of radio time for every 2 batteries, and it's 4 batteries for $2.40. So I remember most radios take 2 batteries. I was spending maybe. I'd probably spend $2.40. I'd probably have to go through 4 batteries every month. So I'd spend $2.40 on batteries every month. But my radio I bought for like $40 or $50. And the MP3 players, there's no music on it unless you pay $2 a song. So you got to weigh it out. If you got the money, just get both. If you don't, if you're on a budget, buy a used radio for $10 or $20. And that's the best way to go. Okay, let's see. Hoovagrua, it was great talking with you. Have a good night. Enjoy the freedom. Thank you. Shelby says, thank you so very much. God bless you and all your help. Thank you, Shelby. Hoovagrua says, John, you're in prison right now. Yeah. John says, no, going for sentencing next Thursday. Yeah, wow. Good. John, we're going to talk for then. November. Have a great night, Sean. Catch you later. Hoovagrua, good luck, John. Thank you. One more question. Do you know what site I can use to look up a friend that's locked up in a different state to put money on their books? Just Google it, ma'am. Just Google it. Yeah. John B. I'm the one 70 years old. My 3rd stint with the feds. Hopefully not mine. All right, guys. Thank you. God bless all you guys for watching. Catch me on the next video. And I hope you got something out of tonight's episode. And just, again, God bless all of you.